Welcome to the PETRONAS Energy Isolation Training. This video is part of the energy isolation training that you are attending now. The objective of this video is to explain and demonstrate the steps and process of applying energy isolation standards as per the PETRONAS Technical Standards 60.2117. The purpose of energy isolation is to safeguard employees, environment, and equipment from the hazards of energy sources during any construction, operation, and maintenance works. Examples of the types of energy are electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical, radiation, thermal kinetic, stored and potential energy. This flowchart illustrates step-by-step application of energy isolation, including the concept of lock, tag, clear, and try method. The following are the steps for energy isolation. Step 1. Application of permit to work, or known as the PTW. Step 2. Electrical isolation at substations. Step 3. Electrical isolation at the field. Step 4. Equipment preparation at the field. Step 5. Physical isolation at the field. Step 6. Approval of permit to work, known as the PTW. Step 7. Hand back after work completion. And finally, Step 8. De-isolation at the field. Now let us begin with Step 1. Step 1. Application of permit to work, or known as the PTW. If any work is required to be carried out on any equipment, the receiving authority, also known as the RA, will fill in the PTW on Section 1, Requisition, to provide adequate details of work planned for the equipment. Subsequently, when RA approaches the approving authority, also known as the AA, to obtain permit approval, a discussion will be held on the controls and precautions required before, during, and after the work. After which, Section 2, Hazards and Hazardous Activities, Section 3, Worksite Preparation and Precaution, Section 4, Personal Protective Equipment, or known as the PPE, will be filled up. For types of energy isolation required, in this case, physical and electrical isolation required for the job will be checked in Section 5, Supporting Certificate and Documents. After discussion between the AA and the RA, isolation plan including type of lock, tag, location, method of isolation are agreed, AA will fill up Section 1 of the Physical Isolation Certificate, also known as the PIC. In some cases, isolation or lockout device list must be prepared and approved for that particular job. Step 2. Electrical isolation at substations. In cases where electrical isolation is required, the authorized competent person, also known as ACP, or authorized person, also known as AP, together with the approving authority representative, also known as AAR, will go to the electrical breaker for the equipment at the substation. The ACP or AP must isolate the specific breaker, lock the breaker, and install a red electrical tag. Subsequently, AAR must verify and place an operation group lock and blue tag on the breaker. The electrical individual lock key used by the ACP or AP must be kept inside the lockout box dedicated for that particular job. AAR and ACP or AP must record breaker location and respective operation and electrical tag numbers and individual electrical lock numbers on the PIC. The same information must be recorded on the Electrical Isolation Certificate, also known as EIC. ACP or AP must also record total number of electrical tags and individual locks installed, after which ACP or AP must complete and sign Section 4 of EIC. Step 3. Electrical isolation at the field. Before testing the field on-off switch, the area around the equipment must be cleared to ensure no one is working within the area. After electrical isolation at the substation, AAR must check and verify the correct field start-stop switch of the equipment under maintenance. AAR must place a group lock wherever possible, followed by Operation Blue Tag on the correct field start-stop switch. The clear and try steps must be witnessed by AA or another AAR to confirm the status of the electrical isolation. After the lock tag clear and try process has been carried out, AA must sign on Section 1 of the Physical Isolation Certificate, the PIC. AA must also confirm acceptance by signing Section 5 of EIC. Step 4. Equipment preparation at the field. Any equipment to be worked on must be properly drained, purged, flushed by under the instruction and supervision of the AA. The key requirement of energy isolation is to check and ensure all energy sources must be drained, purged, flushed, isolated, and brought down to zero energy state before any work can begin. Let's recap on what we've learned so far. Step 1. Application of Permit to Work, or known as PTW. Step 2. Electrical isolation at substations. Step 3. Electrical isolation at the field. And now, Step 4. Equipment preparation at the field. Now, let's move on. Step 5. Physical isolation at the field. Once isolation is confirmed, AAR must place operation group locks and blue tags on all isolation points as per isolation lockout device list. All tag numbers must be recorded in back page of PIC. The location and condition, for example, open or closed position of all the isolation devices must be recorded on the back page of PIC. AAR must also record the total number of operation tags and group locks installed on Section 1 of PIC. The operation group lock key must be kept inside the particular lockout box for the equipment, after which AA must place his department lock and personal brown tag at the lockout box, and the department lock number and tag number must be recorded in Section 1 of PIC. In cases where positive isolations are required, a separate PTW must be applied for the job. Before installation of blind or spades, RA must place his department lock and personal brown tag at the lockout box. After completion of the job, RA must remove department lock and personal brown tag from the lockout box. AAR must place the green spade or blind identification tag on the installed blinds or spades. The green spade or blind identification tag number must be recorded on the back page of PIC. Step 6. Approval of permit to work, or known as the PTW. RA must verify the locations of all positive isolation and sign on each green tag. At the same time, RA must remove the lower portion of all green tags and attach them to the PIC. Any work related to this particular isolation, all RA must place their department lock and individual brown tag on the lockout box. Subsequently, their department lock and brown tag numbers must be recorded in Section 1 of PIC. PIC number must be recorded on the PTW, while that particular PTW number must also be recorded in the PIC. Once PIC is completed and PTW issued, work can now start. Step 7. Hand back after work completion. After completion of each job, each RA must hand back and sign off their PTW. Each RA must remove their department locks and brown tags from the lockout box and sign off in Section 2 of PIC. After all the works are completed, AA must check to confirm all PTW issued under the PIC are signed off and all RA locks and tags are removed from the lockout box. Step 8. De-isolation at the field. For positive isolation at the field, AA must issue separate PTW to remove the blind or spade. Before removal of blind or spades, RA must place his department lock and personal brown tag at the lockout box. After completion of the job, RA must remove department lock and personal brown tag from the lockout box. For physical isolation, AA must remove the key from the lockout box. AA must pass the key to AAR for removal of lockout devices and tags at the field. Then, for electrical isolation, AA must sign off EIC and request the ACP or AP to switch on the breaker. AAR together with ACP or AP must go to the electrical breaker at the substation. AAR must remove Operation Group Lock and Blue Tag, followed by ACP or AP to remove their electrical locks and tags, after which ACP or AP can energize the breaker and sign off the EIC and PIC. After completion of de-isolation, AA must check and sign off PIC. We have now completed all the 8 steps in energy isolation. To recap, the following are the steps of energy isolation. Step 1. Application of permit to work, or known as the PTW. Step 2. Electrical isolation at substations. Step 3. Electrical isolation at the field. Step 4. Equipment preparation at the field. Step 5. Physical isolation at the field. Step 6. Approval of permit to work, known as the PTW. Step 7. Hand back after work completion. And finally, Step 8. De-isolation at the field. Finally, thank you so much for your attention, and we hope this video will assist you in effective implementation of energy isolation standards in your OPUs.